Hello all, this is the first Misfit Artist tutorial, and today we're going to kick it off with how to draw different types of zombies. Your walkers, runners, heavies, fatties, and so on and so forth. We're not necessarily looking at specific zombies from any one game, movie, or comic, but looking at the general archetypes that you get out of all of those. Like I said, you go from your basic walker, and then you get your runners and your special infected. But to start off with, before we get really crazy, I think it's really important that we look at your basic walker zombie. Whether you're making your own zombies for your own story or making fan art, it's good to have the basis to go off of before you start adding all sorts of mutations and stuff. Our goal is to make a video series that lets you translate any of the tips into any style you prefer, cartoony, realism, even chibi. So some of the tips are going to be a little vague. If any of you want any more specific tutorials or tips, or you have questions about certain things, please comment. We'll be very happy to make a tutorial looking at any creepy or not. Maybe it's not even creepy. Maybe it's just a basic drawing tip. Leave a comment so we know that you want to see it, though. But so today we'll go over this basic zombie right here. The main tips to remember for most zombie drawings are sketch your basic anatomy, then you can add your cool zombie bits. Again, a strong foundation will always lead to a better end result. A tired or dead pose helps. Remember, these are zombies. They're undead. They are not trying to look good for a date or for their boss. They have one goal, and that is your brain. Let the zombie decay and wounds tell or suggest a story. Don't just throw random stuff on there. Don't overload it. Choose where to put the wounds. It makes it more personal. It feels more substantial, I guess is the best word. Understand your zombie virus. Again, whether this is a magic, it's a more scientific one. Are there boils, fungus like Last of Us? Again, to tie, if you're making a horde, tie them all together. You don't want fungus on one zombie but then magical glowing veins on another. That doesn't really mix. But yeah, and use it sparingly too. Again, just like the wounds, don't just scratch them all up for the sake of it. If you have a fungus design, then use that fungus in specific areas to draw and lead the eye where you want in your design. And also think about the skeleton. When you decay a zombie, let the skin pull tight and show through the skeletal structure underneath, because that's one of those things that we see a skull and we automatically think dead. If we start seeing a whole lot of really exposed ribs or forearm bones, we know something's up. These are ways that you can very easily convey undead. If you look at something like The Walking Dead, up until you get to like the very, very background actors of The Walking Dead, all of those zombies in those makeup chairs have a story. You can see the wound normally that infected them into what they are now. I think that's very important. Like, if you can see the stages of progression, it makes that all the more scary. Which, I mean, zombies, like, as cool as they are, you can use them in, like, normal fantasy, dark fantasy, sci-fi, even comedies now. They're still, I think, first and foremost a scary thing. And scary, like, you need to work to make something scary. You can't just say, oh, it's a zombie, be scared of it. No, that's where we get goofy things like Zombieland and stuff, which is, I mean, I still love it. But if you want to make it scary, I think it needs some of that personal story. You need that level of this was a person once and they have suffered a horrible fate. That's one of the things that I think Ash vs. Evil Dead did really well. A lot of characters that die very quickly, they developed so much character and personality, and they're immediately like, it's kind of like the classic, oh, I'm only 2 days away from retirement. Like, one of them was like, I'm gonna go and be a dentist or something. It's like, okay, cool. Oh no, you're dead. You're not gonna be a dentist, and you remember that, knowing what this infection does to them automatically. And I think some things that make a really good like classic zombie are just like the simple decay. You know, the cheekbones start coming out, some teeth start getting exposed, their lips rot away. This makes it really, and like kind of squaring up the jaw a little bit, I think helps all of this. And for this guy, we're gonna do some kind of sunk, you know, some really sunken eyes. Let's bring this eye over a little bit, yeah. And this is something that, like, you can know, like, this is a really great stylist. I love doing this because I like Tim Burton stuff. I love how even alive characters, just like when they get sad or something, their eyes will start to get kind of faded in there. But this is something that really does happen. I mean, like, just if you miss a few days of sleep, you start seeing these bags in your eyes. Go to college and you'll see all your friends getting this. Yeah, maybe like have a little bit of, not necessarily brain. I mean, you have brain showing, that's where it gets a little cartoony. But if you just have like some skull showing, it's not so much cartoony. It's just exaggerated. And again, it's like zombies. You know, you don't need the skin anymore to survive. So we have some of that. Maybe some hair coming down here. You know, you get an idea for what you need normal before you start going full nuts. Let's see, he's gonna have a nose, as you know, messed up as it is. This is very rough. We'll go through here and clean it up some more later. Actually, you know what? Let's redo this jaw area. Oh. Make that noise when you're doing this. It's definitely one of those times where making the noise and like feeling it in yourself, you can understand. You can get used to it a little bit more. Even if you've drawn things 1,000 times. If you're drawing a character you draw all the time and does this expression a lot, still go ahead and do that. Make the noises yourself. Make the faces yourself, because it really does. It lets you draw what you see or what you feel more than just what you're used to always doing. That's one of the things with clothes, like they'll tighten, like they won't show the form a whole lot, but they don't just suction, and they don't just go full on tube. So let it kind of still follow some of the body. That's why like some of your teachers, they'll tell you, still draw what happened draw the anatomy under the clothes, and you'll think, it's just, I know how to draw a t-shirt. Well, as soon as you start rushing that's where you start finding some problems. An anatomy sketch will always be a good idea. So this is where we're going to start telling some of the story. We're going to put his bite mark in here, which will mean that there's just going to be a lot of shading and everything there. In his time, I think that he did get stabbed with like a fork in here. Yeah, like maybe like he was zombified on his way home from work, came home, his wife stabbed him with the fork. As time has gone on, he's just decayed and stuff there, so it's fallen apart there. But other than that, I think that this guy has avoided a lot of conflict. This pant is torn here, so there's probably something there. Maybe another bite here. Maybe two got to him. Like zombies that already had their legs taken off got to this guy, because he got bit at like the beginning of the infection. So that's our little base zombie guy. So we're gonna go ahead. If we haven't time-lapsed already, we're probably gonna time-lapse here for a little bit. And as we go into the line art, you can choose to freestyle it a little more as long as you took your time with your sketch earlier. I chose to add some fungal or boils to this infection just to make it seem more deformed. Again, we're making this something that used to be human. And when we move into our other videos and other special zombie types, it can help tie this guy together with the other ones we're going to be drawing. It can also help show some individuality to each zombie. One guy has boils on his arm, one guy has it on his face. It just lets you see, that there's more than just one going on. Even if you do a rig, it's a very easy way to swap out and make them not all the complete same copy and pasted zombie. But whatever it is, fungus, scars, veins, or glowing wounds, just try not to overuse it. Let it attract the eye to certain spots and balance your design. Same with spot blacks and harsh shading. I think that's a great way to make something look stark and kind of scary and edgy, but if you just put it all over the place, it gets messy and hard to read. Use it in certain spots to push limbs into the background or focus in on areas. Another thing to keep in mind is just add details and continue making decisions that add depth and story to your zombie. You made a sketch before that was very rigid and controlled. Now, again, you have some freedom to freestyle. And if you think that having earphones on them would help tell an interesting story, maybe this was a DJ before, you can do that. If you want to put a tie on the zombie but you didn't have it in your sketch, that's fine. Go ahead and give it a shot. Just make sure that you are always making decisions. Add some torn off flesh or bone showing. You don't need to stick to your sketch perfectly. Just use the foundation, let it all work together. The biggest goal is to show that it, again, used to be human. Keep in mind, was he or she a small person? Were they a business manager? What did they do before? And let that carry in. A mailman zombie is such a classic thing because it's like, we all know the mailman uniform and it shows when they were zombified. And it just adds that little extra bit of, again, it's scary because this was a person before. But yeah, and all of these tips should help whether you're designing or writing your own zombie art, or if you're working on some fan art for a Dead Space, Left 4 Dead, or Zombicide. They have all these already existing characters, but have you ever seen a mailman necromorph from Dead Space? That's a way that you can add and put your own character and flair on it. When it comes to coloring, there isn't much to give specific tips for it. It's up to your style. I like throwing zombies into fun color palettes, sometimes reminiscent of like 70s or 80s horror cover art, like the Romero or Raimi stuff, and experiment. So just experiment, have fun. If you want specific shading, rendering, or color tutorial, comment below. But there's not any tips specifically for coloring zombies, I don't think, unless, again, there's a very specific effect you're going for, but that's getting more into another subject. So if it's something that interests you, if you like how I shade my characters as zombies, or if you like anything that Ace does, please comment below. Like I said, we'll gladly go into how to color things, or maybe you can submit your own art, your own line art, and ask how would you go about coloring or rendering it. I think that'd be a very fun series to start, and I would love to go on an adventure like that with all of you. So stay tuned. We'll be coming out with a lot more zombie tutorials soon, along with an upcoming radio drama series premiering in September called Shadowbrook Hunters. If you like monsters, horror, or anything like that, keep an eye out, because that's the way we're going. We are posting a lot of fun designs. We're trying to start our own digital collectible trading cards that all pay homage to classic monsters and stories that all of us know and love. So please come with us on this journey, and hopefully it'll be a fun and spooky time for all of us. But yeah, if you want to see more, if there's anything that you'd like to see specifically, comment. Please, if you haven't already, like and subscribe. And check out our Patreon and Redbubble for fun monster art and presents for your friends as the spooky October season is coming up upon us. Have fun, stay safe, happy, and scared. We'll see you later.